Number 6. Meet costume designer Annie Pender.
My name is Annie. I'm a white British woman with long light brown hair worn in loose waves over one shoulder. I have a fair freckled complexion from my English, Irish and Scottish family roots. I'm in my mid-40s. I am 5'8" with a medium build.
Annie is a costume designer, creative consultant and psychotherapist, working on projects that have spanned across film, fashion, theatre, dance, art, and the community. The common thread between her work is gathering material and finding the cohesive essence of her latest project. She's worked with Seke on all of his choreographic output, designing costumes in collaboration with him and his cast. At the heart of Annie's practice is a sense of fun, creativity, and play. We asked Annie to talk us through her design process on It Begins in Darkness.
But with this particular project, Seke is somebody I've worked with loads with, always end up working together. I'm very experiential. So we'll kind of chat a little bit about what the choreographer or whoever's the project is, about what it is to them. But I always keep a very, very open mind just to see whatever thoughts come to mind when they're talking about this particular subject. And then I will go into the early stage is that they're at. With this piece, it was sitting in rehearsals and just watching what was being created. And I will make notes about any words that are coming to mind for me. I might draw. I often take a lot of photographs as well. I often, sort of sit down with the dancers or the performers and just sort of listen to whatever their experience of what the piece is as well. From that, I kind of have a collection of words, collection of images, and I kind of take it from that. I work quite instinctively. I often work with either found pieces or I will buy in things and source them. And it will often be that there is some elements that kind of rise to the surface from the collection of information I have. I'll pull a whole load of source clothes and then I'll take that back to the dancers and back to the rehearsal room and we'll have a lot of fun trying things on. In the early stages, I invited the dancers to bring in any pieces of their own clothing that they felt resonated with what they were making. I quite often do that with pieces because it's sort of part of the collaboration of what is this thing to everybody. And that might bring, there's like something about somebody moving in something that feels inspiring or an edit back from that until we find something that's cohesive.
All of the costumes were ready-made and then tailored to each performer. Annie gathered around 50 items, about 10 options per person. Here are some examples of the questions Annie asked the cast members. You are a group of real friends embarking on an unknown, unexpected experience, moving between senses and environments. What might you be wearing for this journey if you were prepared for it? What might you have expected to be wearing if you were unprepared for it? For example, you got locked outside your house when you went to put the bins out, not wearing a coat or shoes. What allows your senses to be alive and alert while wearing it? What piece of clothing can carry you through this experience? We invite you too to imagine yourself as a performer in the work, navigating horrors imagined and real. What would you wear to carry you through this experience? Annie explained her conceptual approach to the costumes and how they work as individual pieces and a group ensemble.
The very first things that I immediately thought when I kind of encountered this piece is to enhance the sense of sensibility and listening. I was very much like, oh, this is about really listening and being really sensitive. And I feel very kind of sensitively alive while watching it. So the costumes In an early stage, I was very interested in when you're quiet, how do you hear clothes move? My hope for the costumes was that it's all materials that are sensitive materials, like silks, heavy linens. And also there's definitely something about feeling timeless in them, like very present in themselves, but also getting to feel timeless. And that's kind of part of that sense of being able to be open and listening, and like they're not from any one particular era, but there is these sort of echoes of other times in them. So they feel quite timeless, but also very present. For example, there is kind of more of a dungaree look. There's also a kind of creamy-ish linen suit. One of them is a sort of big loose shirt, and they all have stylings that could be from a number of eras. So the kind of heavy black linen, for example, I was kind of thinking of the sort of turn of the century heavy skirts, or the like big shirts could be from the like 18th century, or equally they could be from the 1950s, or they could be like so now, like again, it's like that costume was like, oh, I'd wear this right now. It was also kind of about like where these like echoes of histories come back, and how in different moments in time, for some reason, it's important that we're wearing big shirts again, and there's this echo with 18th century people or something. Also, that kind of connection to something that goes back through history. We've all been wearing some forms of garments for like, 1,000 years or more. And there are these materials that have remained part of that kind of thread of lineage, this experience that's been common throughout in different ways.